Chainsaw Man Chapter 178, titled Gun Goddess. You know, I'm moving the mic around like this because I want to show off how menacing and cool my Godzilla shirt is, but not as menacing as what we just saw in this chapter. Holy hell. Fujimoto has been cooking. I feel like we've been saying that for the past couple weeks, but for people who have been with us during the struggle, remember getting to the route of the sushi restaurant took forever, and although we were met with some surprises, we're at a good point now, and it seems like I thought this was going to end. Maybe we were like 75% done with this story, but the way it's going, I feel like Fujimoto has so much more legs to give this easily another 30 more chapters, because when you introduce the Gun Goddess, there's so many things that's coming out of my mind, and I can't help but wonder, is this another variation of the devils that we know in this universe? We know of fiends, we know of primal devils. Are goddesses a new classification, or is specifically Fujimoto just calling it that because, well, in a weird, twisted, demented way in the world of devils in this universe, we can classify this Statue of Liberty / gun devil / assault rifle devil / goddess, its name based off of the description and appearance that we see here. Lots of things to consider, but no matter how you spin it, we see the Statue of Liberty turn into this monstrosity. I mean, even something that Godzilla would look at and be like, boy, you guys are on your own with this one. I'm sinking back into the ocean because this is crazy. Pochita, the most fearsome of devils, got decimated here. You know, the last time we saw Pochita get wrecked like this was in part 1 when Makima summoned Angel Devil, and was it 1,000 years or 500 years with the spear? You guys know the one I'm talking about. Pochita was heavily injured from that attack, but Pochita was still somewhat intact. What we see here, we see a huge crater-like hole of an attack directly going from America all the way to Tokyo, and the destruction is absolute carnage. It's mayhem, and I think the thing that many of us can come together or we can laugh at, because I even rolled my eyes when I read this, was the moment when Yoru relinquished control for Asa to be in that moment of like her finger showing what she just done. And she's like, oh my God, Yoru was a devil all along. We know Asa is gullible. And from the beginning of part 2 to where we've seen her in now with this symbiotic relationship, think like Eddie Brock and Venom, we kind of see like, oh, Asa is becoming a little bit like Yoru, and Yoru is becoming a bit more like Asa. And what do I mean by that? Well, Yoru's getting more in touch with her feelings. She's more in tune with maybe her motherly instincts that we saw. She definitely felt remorse from the last chapter of giving up her children. Children have to do my bidding, right? And it's like, okay, well, maybe there's a part that she does believe in when she says that, but also realistically, she looked at her hands, and Sufferance actually made a really good analogy. Like, you know, when people go to funerals, sometimes women, they put on like those like little gloves things, and it's all in black just to symbolize like, you know, what they're doing and what they're attending. So I do like how subtle that is, and how I can't believe I completely glossed over it, where, oh, Yoru is putting on the funeral attire, so to speak, but quite literally wearing what she killed, right? Like, there's some nice symbolisms and maybe more impactful messages that you can break down with that. But this is still all to say she's in tune with her feelings. She's maybe grabbing some of those Asa traits, instilling onto herself. But then the flip side of this is that, well, now Asa is becoming more of a badass woman herself. So it's a little jarring when she just now comes with this epiphany of like, oh my God, Yoru is a devil. I can't believe what she did. And, you know, we see Yoru laughing in the background, which I don't have a problem with, because like, well, she is a devil at the end of the day, right? So Asa coming to this conclusion is like, I'm just shaking my head at it because it's quite stupid. When I look at it, I'm just like, Asa, come on. Come on. Now, let's go ahead and switch over to Pochita, which, again, Pochita was at the blood bank, got pretty hurt last week, but decimated this week, and, well, power doesn't arrive. We were all theorizing and speculating perhaps the new Reborn Again Blood Devil would now appear, because, as I mentioned so many times before, at the end of part 1, Power and Denji agreed to a contract to find the Reborn Again Blood Devil, and then that person can potentially bring Power back, yada, 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 whatever. But here, it's not the Reborn Again Blood Devil, and it is the Primal Fear, the Aging Devil. And the Aging Devil starts feeding Pochita its own blood. And it says, hey, have my blood. Regenerate. We need you, Chainsaw Man. And I love the parallels. If you guys can look at this panel to what we saw in part 1 when Denji got decimated by the gun fiend, which was Aki, and he was wrecked, but he was still Chainsaw Man. And who came to save Denji at that time? The innocent civilians. They gave their blood to resurrect Denji to save them, to save humanity. And now we got like the inverse of that, where it's Pochita being fed blood by a primal fear, quite literally the opposite human beings. And this person is saying, hey, I'm going to give you blood, but it's going to come at the cost of tens and thousands of people that you're sacrificing. And that's why I love the dialogue that the primal devil is telling Pochita. Isn't it poetic? Isn't this kind of like a cruel irony? Yeah, you're going to get revived, and maybe you'll do whatever you will with Asa and Yoru, but it's going to come at the cost of all these thousands of people dying. How do you feel about that? And technically, Pochita only drank the blood of the Primal Fear, because the Primal Fear did say, the moment you start consuming pieces of me, that's when, you know, this contract is going to happen that the Primal Fear made with the Japanese government, that 10,000 kids and babies and whatever will end up dying, right? Technically, that hasn't happened yet. But will it happen? Well, I think it will because of the parallel that I just drew, but more importantly, because we've never seen Pochita, again, full power Pochita looked this wrecked. I feel like Pochita has to consume the Primal Fear, but we'll have to wait and see. But Gun Goddess, without a doubt, is one of my favorite chapters in Chainsaw Man. Who knows where the hell this story is going to go next? But guys, I have to hear your thoughts below. Let me know how you're feeling about this. We're going to talk more about this stuff in depth in the live reaction, which you can go ahead and click right here. Take care.